MSF here, and we're going to talk a little bit about the state of Marvel Strike Force. Yes, I'm back playing. Yes, this is my first video. Yes, people change their minds. Feel free to comment if you've never changed your mind. If not, you can keep it to yourself, or have fun with whatever you guys want to type. But I'm back playing the game, and I'm hoping this insight will help you. Again, I came back for a wide variety of reasons, but mostly for you guys here in the community. So let's talk about something that's evident, right? There's a lot of confusion about what MSF is right now, and it's not the game that we used to play. And I hate to say it, but that grave is dug, and that game is over. And the MSF that we have now, we have to kind of embrace and understand. And we're going to start by looking at the most recent revelation, which was revelation that the Asgardian team is now going to be a Scourge team, and that should come as no shock to people. First, their kits seem to lend themselves to it, but we can go back and we can start talking about something in the release cycle. And we're going to talk about, how to kind of anticipate and what to work on, and probably give you guys an overarching strategy to survive this new Marvel Strike Force. So Asgardians, Relevation, they are now a Scourge team. So a lot of things have happened in Marvel Strike Force, and it comes down to specifically the fact that character releases aren't expected to get 5 stars anymore. You're not expected to get 5-star or even close with the 4.5 with the Blitz milestone releases that we've had in the past. So gone are the days of the Lady Deathstrikes, the Circes, the Icaruses, and those type of events. Now we're stuck with events that are like what we have now, Echo. And so while we're getting closer and closer to that 4-star, the characters are more significant to how we build our characters. So I have the calendar up here. And this calendar basically allows me to kind of go back and look at something that is interesting. After Circe and Icarus, the next character we had was Magic, but then it was Ghost Spider, Scarlet Spider, Spider-Punk, Spider-Man Miles. All right? The singular characters in the team, the one-off characters, are not being featured as part of the Scourge, but these teams are either the 2 or 3-piece or full teams that are being released. So take a look. This whole team right here, Scarlet Spider, Spider-Punk, okay? Scourge team. Next team that comes out, Young Avengers, Scourge team, all right? Next team that comes out, Dark Hunters, Scourge team. Next team that comes out is the actual team with the legendary Horsemen. Next team that comes out, Scourge team. Next team that comes out, well, we already know we're in the middle of a Scourge team and a team that's centered around a Horseman. So what does that say? Every character cannot be skipped. Now, there are certain characters, those one-offs, those Magics, those Star-Lord T'Challas, those the Madeline Pryor characters that you probably could bench and not have to worry about it, because so far they haven't been featured in like the must-haves. But we're going to talk about this because characters are viable at 3 stars. They're not incredible at 3 stars, but they're usable. And that doesn't happen in a lot of video games, and we can celebrate that to a certain degree. But that being the base expectation of what, a hardcore free-to-play can get, maxing out all their effort into a milestone that may even be a month long, doesn't feel great. However, it's the game we're playing right now. So how do we kind of prioritize teams and work on them? So right now, should you be investing in Asgard? And the answer is probably no. Not investing right now, but absolutely maximizing your milestones, unless you're focused on them as a war team. Now, they're good, and they're going to be good in Crucible, and we're going to talk about why I think they're going to be probably your Crucible teams and kind of how to highlight what characters you're going to want to use, because despite what you've been told, Crucible is a game mode that we've only touched the surface is what is available, and this teal gear is just highlighting the portents of 17 showing up. And we've already talked about the impact on my Twitch channel, but if you guys haven't heard about it, the B4 and GT17 that'll be coming to Marvel Strike Force will feel like Gear 14. So priorities are going to change a little bit here. It doesn't matter if you don't care about Crucible. You don't have to build the Crucible teams like Wakanda. You're probably going to build the Horseman team because why not? You're going to need that for Apocalypse, and Apocalypse will probably be game-changingly good unless Marvel Strike Force fails us terribly. But expect that if you want Apocalypse, you're going to have to build the Horseman teams that has been announced. That is not a surprise. Okay? So you want to build your Scourge teams, but only after you've built your Raid teams, which sometimes are also Scourge teams, and then highlight the Arena teams as well. So depending on your access to it, and depending on how old your shard is, will depend how easy it is to maintain and build up an Arena team. But the Raid teams are going to be the utmost important, and we're already seeing that Doom 3 is on the horizon. So these Raid teams, and again, sometimes they may not be evident, Darkhold with Dormammu happens to be the best Raid team to simulate in 2.3 Doom right now, but that may not be the future when the new raids come out. So, Web Warriors, okay, and Web Warriors also happen to be a phenomenal Crucible team. Young Avengers also happen to be a phenomenal Crucible team. Dark Hunters also happen to be a phenomenal Crucible team. You guys starting to get what I'm talking about here? You can build 12 teams with just your raid teams, Axemen, okay, etc., etc. Secret Avengers. You can build a Crucible team and compete with just the Scourge teams, the characters anchored by the Horsemen, and your raid teams, and progress and make sure you're maintaining those rewards. But you just can't just dial it in, because what's going to happen is what happened to me. I happen to be on the cusp of, staying in Diamond, because that Diamond, the top players keep consistently moving up rather quickly. And so the 3 losses I had this weekend, because I couldn't put the effort in because my family went away, I dropped out of Masters. And what that means is I'm getting about 2 to 3K less of currency for this one, unless I move back up, but then less for each win I get as well. So that could be a difference in how quickly I acquire Gear Tier 17, and that will depend on how much you're going to see it, but trust me, it's going to hit the game hard. We're already seeing the effect that the blue ISO 4 is having on War. When you put it on a character like Dormammu, things like the sacks aren't always as effective, etc., etc. So, Marvel Strike Force fundamentally has changed. You can no longer guarantee that you're going to get a 5-star unlock for a legendary by having the 5-star unlock on all characters. That's gone. But it might be better in the long run if the 3-star legendary is usable to get Apocalypse. But based on data mines, we don't know. Data mines have said, and we do not have to take this word for word, that the event was placeholder as a 7-star unlock. Now, that means nothing. I expect that probably closer to the 3rd Scourge, we may have some more information regarding that. But for now, I would just plan on participating with building up your Scourge teams as much as possible. And again, they're anchored by, usually 2 characters that are in the game and 2 or 3 characters that are being added in the patch. So what does that come down to? Well, no character is really skippable. So somebody asked me, well, I think Wakanda will be a Scourge team. They might be, but they might be like Inhumans were featured in this most current Scourge. So I don't think people should necessarily invest in Wakanda. I said it, I know, should necessarily invest in Wakandans, because there's so much Mystic Gear shortage between the Darkhold and transitioning into Nico and some additional Mystic characters that are coming out with the Asgard. I think that you'd be remiss working up Wakanda too much because of, they're a good team, but until they don't check that box of Scourge. While it's good for Crucible, they're still beatable, and they're beatable by Young Avengers, which, by the way, should give you the overarching strategy that you can beat anybody who's who's built up Wakanda with your Young Avengers. So you move on from there. So again, we're going to go in a lot into this strategy here, because I think we have to adapt to a new MSF. We have to set the expectations that we're only going to get 3 stars through the process, and then if you want to max them out, it's going to cost a lot more money and time. And there's no commitment to release before these legendary characters come out. If that was the case, you would have seen Darkhold and the Web Warriors become available before the Pestilence event. And because the star unlocks are no longer part of the puzzle here, I feel like that's really what's held us back going forward. So I really think that at the end of the day, we need to streamline our focus, talk about it in the community. There's some great content creators out there, like Boylan, who I'll quickly mention, who goes through the math on these events on a regular basis. Talking about how to, maximize it with your alliance, how to set up your crucible with these teams, and then hopefully make sure you guys are still having fun playing Marvel Strike Force, because I can tell you right now that this release pace has been backbreaking. And the reason is we're at the highest point of release for pretty much 2 months in a row that we've ever seen in Marvel Strike Force. Now that'll drop a little bit because one of the characters this month is Rogue as part of the Scourge event. But still, unfortunately, we are seeing a higher number of characters being released than ever before. So, and coupled with the fact that you just can't skip any team, I understand why there's a lot of frustration. But don't skip them, participate in the events, get the characters, and then build them up as they become important for their Scourges. And then you can place them inside of your Crucible as you build them for the future. That's it, guys. Again, there's a lot to decompress here, and we're going to be talking a lot about that over here on the channel, over here on Twitch, over here on YouTube for the next coming days. And I'm glad to be back. Thanks to you guys for bringing me back, and hope we can have fun again soon. Hopefully the Scourge event is something where we're going to be doing live on Twitch. If you guys need help with your Scourges and setting them, I actually did 15 or 20 walkthroughs live with different rosters than my own, and we'll hopefully get you guys into the best possible stars for Rogue when she comes out. See you soon.